cheaper. Yay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm changing the screen again, where I have a beige whitish background with some stuff, a window next to me again. I like this setting a bit more than that one, but I like to sit there as well. So you will see change from time to time, I guess. And it's the holiday season, and I went ham with some drugstore products, and I bought 4 palettes, and I've bought some base product from Revolution as well. So today we'll be doing a first impression, which typically I don't like to do first impression, but I mean, you guys like first impression, I guess. Oh, you can see there's still a swatch of shadow gone. If you like see these kind of video, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Like, click the bell button. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can see me do makeup. I know I'm cute. So let's get started with the video. So I bought 4 Revolution products, base products 5, including the setting sprays, because I'm running out of like everything. I don't mean by running out of foundation, I'm running out of like setting spray. So we will be like seeing how it feels. So I've like a highlight, concealer, 2 face shade, which I'm in the shade F8 in both, like the stick foundation and the Conceal and Hydrate foundation, and I have a contouring shade in F13. So to read a little bit about the products, it's like some of these are iconic products, like a lot of people like it, like the concealer, and I haven't heard anything about the hydrate one, but today we're gonna try everything, like everything. So to prime our skin, we will start with the E.L.F primer, which I love. Everything just goes on with this. I've just bought one again today because Hong Kong doesn't have E.L.F, and I'm not happy about that. It's a very thin kind of a primer, and it blurs, helps foundation to stick on. It just does everything. I won't be doing a wear test. Maybe I should do one. Maybe like a 6-hour kind of like a test, because the time now is 5. Maybe a 6-hour one where I wore to 11, maybe. So half of the face I will be using this, half will be using this. So for my right side, it's not a twist up, it's a pump, and I will be using this combination of brush and sponge. I'll be using a buffing brush for buffing brush. I will be using a buffing brush for this cream and the face I'll be using the brush for both the stick and the liquid foundation. So for the right side, again, I will use the Conceal and Hydrate in the shade F8. It's a radiant foundation with hyaluronic acid. It's medium to full coverage. It has dimethicone. It has some it's a fragrance-free formula, which is great. It has some amount of sodium hyaluronic, not a lot, like right next to what's that called? Paraben. I'll be stippling this on. A little goes a long way, I feel. I feel like I'm just applying one pump on. And I think 2 pumps would be like enough for, like 1 pump will be enough for like most of the face if you don't need a lot of coverage. This feels like Born This Way in some ways. It's quite full in coverage. Also, it has a lot of radiance. But Born This Way, it's slightly smoother, I think. Can't remember. I haven't used that foundation for like ages. So the next one would be the stick foundation, which you can see what ingredients it has. It's a wax base, kind of like a foundation. It's made in China. Like, made in China doesn't mean it's not cruelty free, but it's a cruelty free and vegan formula. This one, for this one, it's a cruelty free and vegan formula as well. So if you are like someone that needs vegan formula, and you are someone that who buys only cruelty free kind of a product, this would be your kind of like a product. Maybe I should do a video that compares this and the Fenty Stick foundation if you guys want. Certainly, I don't think no, I would do one. Like, I've asked people online what to buy from Revolution, and I didn't have like high like, I don't have like expectation that will wow me, like wow, that's amazing, but from things that I've tried, I'm really loving it. The stick is really nice. It's a lot more radiant on this side than this side, I think. So let's see. This side is slightly more red. This side it's more like my shade, but both of them are FA. I've like tried shades in store, like FA in like the concealer form, it doesn't work. It's like white on my skin. So their shades are a little bit inconsistent. But for the stick in this one, it's just the undertone for this one is slightly off. And both blurred my pores, both hide most of my imperfection. This one cracked on my like inner nose corner where everything just cracks. I don't mind that at all, but just tell you, I have to tell you about that. Other than that, it looks really nice for both sides. So for the next step, I'll be using the Supersize Conceal and Define concealer in the shade F8.5. This one is lighter than the 7 and 8. It's more yellow as well, which I mean it's super brightening. People were like, oh, this one is super matte. Let's see. People were like, oh, this one is the cheaper version of the Tarte one, which I've never tried the Tarte one. Actually, I don't usually highlight there, but today I've made the mistake of putting concealer there, so let's just deal with that. It's very Maybelline, not Fit Me, the Age Rewind. It reminds me of that. It's matte, but it's at the same time it does have some radiance in it. It draws a lot of light here, which I don't hate the look, but I don't like the look. Like some people do that and their under eye look great, but they were like, oh, it's excellent, I like the look, but I've just put it here so that it brightens up the cheek. It just lifts the face a bit for me, which I like about that. Well, it dries really quickly. Well, it's quite full coverage, I can tell you. Quite liking this one. It's not that expensive, and everything from Revlon and Priceline is like 30% off, which is, it's not cheap to start with, but it's cheaper. And then next step is fill in the brows. The primer is broken from the Urban Decay brow and down, so we're just gonna fill the brows. Rather, it's quite a useful place, but sometimes it's a weird place. Like someone asked, how do you feel about I want to buy something, which one should I buy? And then I was like, I don't think the palettes from that series is worth it to buy. And then people were like, your opinion is not valid, because if something is still in production and it's good, then you should buy that. And I'm like, I said I don't like it, but if you want one, then buy that one. And then they were like, you're so stuck up with your opinion. And I'm like, that's why it's just an opinion. You don't have to hear me out. It's like not a law, or it's not something that you should be following. It's just something that I think. Okay, and then next step will be contouring. We'll be using the shade 13, and I will just look into just put it. And then some on the forehead. I just want to test. Actually, I don't contour on the daily basis. I don't like that. But sometimes I do it when I want like to have a very kind of like shadowy look. Like I usually bronze, but when I want that very shadowy, very solo, very skull look, like very hollow kind of a look, or like the eye makeup tone is really gray, then I will be like, okay, let's well, it's everything is exaggerated under this light. I think I didn't blend out things, but it looks like in real life it looks like I'm blend. I don't contour my nose, even though my nose is not finely defined, but who cares? So for the next step is I will prime my eyes. So I will set my face to prepare for like any other powder products like bronzer or just highlight, blush. Okay. I'm using the Fit Me powder. Loose setting powder are really messy, but what I like them because they make things last. But also they're messy as hell. You can't win everything, but you do get something from that. So I'll be using the blush, bronzer, and highlight from Pixi. I've like scratched one of the powder, the top one. I bought this 20% off. Not $20 off. So it's like 40% off? Yeah, it's 40% off. Never try anything from Pixi, but I want to try this palette because it's marked down, and also I want to try their products. So I'll be using their summertime bronzer to bronze up. It's a shimmery bronzer, which everything here is shimmery, but I don't mind that look today. I'm not going anywhere. So I'll be using the blush duo, and I will be using the rose gold one. I've like swatched them. The worst of the 6 powders are the blush duo. They just are shimmery. Like they are like highlight. with a hint of blush. I swatch. If I swatch them, you can't even see the color. But I mean, they're like great highlight if you like subtle highlight, but it's not blush. You can see a hint. So I will use the glow powder. I'll be using the light glow, which is a white-ish highlight. Hi. The highlight it's good, the bronzer is great, the blush no good. So it would be 4 out of like the 6 powders are great here. It's the 4th edition of like the Ultimate Beauty Kit. I think if you need something. Like this palette have blue, purples, and ashy tones here, and then they have sheet of like golds and warm tones, and I think like this costs $36 for the whole thing. Like the original price is like 50 something dollars, like AUD. That would be like 40 something dollars. I mean, if you have price of that, would be like 20 something dollars. It's worth. This thing is worth. The shadow might not perform as well. I've tried a little bit of the eyeshadow. Some of them are not that great, but you have to just build it up. But I mean, for $30 for the things that you get, I mean, it's good enough. It's good enough. So that this one is quite a nice palette. So for the eye look, I'll be trying the Australis Neutralise Nude eyeshadow palette. You can see I've swatched them. The they are quite thick. The shimmers are quite thick, quite chunky, clumpy. I don't mind that. I like that. Like sometimes chunky glitters, they're like very foily. They're very opaque. Sometimes they might not be. This one has 20 grams of product, so 20 divided by 20, so 1 gram eyeshadow, and it's, I think it's half. No, it's $14 UAD, AUD. So first, there's names for these eyeshadows. So this one reminds me of that rose gold palette from maybe, yeah, it's like the texture rose gold palette, the modern Renaissance palette, sort of like that kind of a theme. I'll be using the shade, the second row, no, first row, 5th shade, which is Praline, this shade. Oh, that's some good quality shadow. So today Riverdale is launching their episode, which, am I excited about that? Yes. Am I going to scream and be angry? Yes. Maybe I should react. Maybe I should. Like, sometimes they do the dumbest shit ever. So I'll be. It's very powdery. There's a lot of kick up. I don't mind that. I'm using the shade Fudge. Chocolate Fudge. Like, chocolate fudge cake, a small amount is great. A lot is very full. I'm putting this on the outer corner. Bring up the color. No, it's very easy to use. I'm loving everything from the palette. Oh my god. So I'll be trying with a brush to see how good the shimmers are, or the metallics, or the very glittery shade. I'm using the shade Cherry Ripe. This shade here. This shade here. Looks so pretty. If it doesn't pop with a brush, then I will use a finger. Ooh. Okay, this eyeshadow, like, that's what I look for in an eyeshadow. It's like it has impact. It's really easy to use. It's pigmented. You can use a brush, finger. You don't have to wet the thing. You just have to. It just does that on its own. We're highlighting our inner corners. So I will use the shade to highlight our inner corners with Coconut. This shade. So it's quite everything. It's very thick, clumpy, and very brightening. So last video about brushes, I said I never use these brushes. So this is how I use them. They are just cleaning up the edge, just buff everything. That's how I use them. The highlight, it's really smooth, but on screen it's like not really that. It's quite subtle. You get what you have. And then for our lower lash line, I'll be using the shade. What shade? Okay, the first shade, Passion Fruit Cream. This shade here. Using a shadow base brush, just whip it. Like, pinks, reds are easy to make, I know, but sometimes some company just can't make them. Okay, I'll just slightly blend everything in. Before we set the face, I finally think that highlighting here it's better than here. Thanks Natasha Denona. If you haven't watched my Natasha Denona video, what are you doing? You have to watch that. You have to watch her tutorial. It makes highlighting your face very transformative. Like next level highlight. You go there, and I will set the face with the base fix. No, doesn't smell good. It's a alcohol based setting spray. So this spray does have alcohol, benzoyl alcohol. It has castor oil. It has vitamin E, retinol palmitate, seed oil, some seed oil, pentanol. It had some good ingredients, but you have alcohol, so it helps foundation to last. So overall, that's my face. Maybe I should add a mascara. Maybe we should add mascara. Like I'm using the Maybelline one to keep with the inexpensive haul. So this is the face done. Dun dun dun. So overall, verdicts for the moment. The base makeup, very good. I don't feel dry for the moment. I don't feel anything except for I feel something on my upper lip, which is ultra dry. Always like desert. It's like Australia. It's just dry. It doesn't feel tacky. It's very radiant with like a lot of highlight. The bronzer, it's good. It's subtle. I like it. The highlight, it's good. Let's use a mirror. The bronzer, it's good. Highlight, it's good. Blush, no good. I don't like the blush. It doesn't have any color payoff. The eyeshadow from Australis, amazing. This palette it's like high quality eyeshadow. It's like, I would say, I can't say which brand it's like, but if this is like, let's say, this would be something like, if you sell this at like $50, not 50, like something like $30 to $40, this is like something like the quality of like $30 to $40 eyeshadow, but it's not that expensive. It's cruelty free, and it's also vegan friendly. It's a talc based eyeshadow. The matte eyeshadow has dimethicone in it. And then for the shimmer shadow, it does not have talc in it, and it does have parabens, and it does use red 40 in the matte eyeshadow. So like these ones, I think they have like maybe this one as well. They might have red 40, which some people might be allergic to. So we see you a few hours later, like maybe at 10. See you then. Bye for now. So I'm back. Ding! So it's now, what time is it? Let's check. It's 10:20, and I've packed my bag. So I've done some work, but in a control area, not a control environment, and I've like dance a bit like a crazy person in my room, like for no apparent reason. So let's check our face. As you can see, it's still very glowy, very dewy. So let's check up close. So the nose, obviously some are caking there since the beginning of dawn. The pores are concealed. The lip area just look dry. That's normal. Got a bit of oil on the forehead. Really nice foundation to wear. I don't feel foundation, like I don't feel it that much. Let's see how oily I am. Take off my glasses. So let's see. There's some on my forehead, like clearly this is well greased. Some foundation that came off, which is normal because it didn't bake. Let's see how, like, I'll use two sheets and see how each side, because I'm wearing this side, I'm using the new Conceal and Hydrate. I'm using the new Conceal and Hydrate, and for this one I'm using the stick. So I'll be using two sheets of blotting paper, because this side is using the Conceal and Hydrate, this side is using the stick foundation, and we will see how oily, like, the cheek area and how it wore this area, because there's nothing here. I just tie my hair back, and let's see which side I feel like looks oilier. So there's a lot of foundation that came off. Not a lot of oil. Let's see how this side is doing. So I definitely feel like the stick side, this is the stick side, this is the Conceal and Hydrate side. I feel like the stick side is a little bit more oilier, but from what I'm looking at this side, it's more cake here in the nose area here. This side is less cakey. But from what I'm seeing, it's that this side, actually both look really similar. Both sides does feel really similar as well. I don't feel especially oily in either side, which is great. The coverage stayed the same. The eyeshadow didn't wore off, didn't change. It creased, but it would just crease. Any primer would just make it crease because it's a fold there. I'm just blinking, constantly blinking and opening my eyes, so didn't change much. The eyeshadow, it stays the same, they stay the same kind of intensity, but I can see a lot of like shimmer around like this area, so it's like, well, when you wear any eyeshadow, some will still fall off. One thing is that mascara didn't smudge on my eyes, or no, it did smudge, but because of like I'm wearing eyeshadow down there, so it's hiding it. I like the foundation. It doesn't make me feel really oily, or it doesn't make me feel really cakey. I think these foundation here, I'm using this one and this one, they are better than like some drugstore foundation, definitely. Like especially this one. This one, I feel like this is like Born This Way. And Born This Way is more luminous. This one, it's more like a natural finish. This is, I feel like this foundation is what I want from the NARS Radiant foundation. It's like luminous, but it doesn't make me feel oily. It doesn't sit on the skin weird. The NARS Radiant foundation, it sits on the skin, but it will like wipe off. This doesn't wipe off. I can touch my face. It's fade. It's touch resistant. It doesn't really come off. I don't see any prints. The NARS would just rub right off. This one is less luminous than the Too Faced one, but the Too Faced one is definitely more hydrating. It's definitely higher in coverage as well, which I mean I like both of them, so they are, it's very comparable with like my Born This Way foundation. For the stick one, I think this feels a little bit more lightweight than the Hourglass Finish Sticks foundation, which the Vanish stick is a lot more hydrating than this one. Again, I really like hydrating foundations and like foundation sticks, and this one definitely have less shine to it. It's more natural finish. At the same time, I feel like it's it looks the same when I wear a Vanish stick, where in the mouth area it's a bit more. No, it's just foundation. It's like every foundation just weird. But I feel like this one is less oily, less greasy than the Vanish stick. But I like this Vanish stick as well, because like these compared to my favorites, and at the same time they're less oily, which they're slightly more long wearing, I think, than those one, but those one have higher coverage and they are more hydrating. It's like this is the summer version and that's the winter version. And so I don't know how did the setting spray help. Like I don't know. I didn't wear this for 8 hours, so this one is a shorter wear. I don't know how this helps. I think it may have helped with like the longevity, but I'm not sure about that. So like to give my verdict on all of the products that I've tried. So for the Australis Neutralise Nude eyeshadow palette, this is definitely a recommendation from me. So if you live in Australia, buy this puppy. I really enjoy this eyeshadow palette. It's so beautiful. Everything just works here. Everything just works. So definitely buy this one. Really love it. The next thing, the foundation and the foundation stick. definitely a recommendation for me for like a day one wear test where I wearing this for 5 hours and I like pack some stuff, have to like fold clothes, and then have to like go up and down and dance a bit, and I don't feel like it break down anywhere. It's just look dry and the chin area, which is normal. Everything just looks real dry there. So if you think that I'm like picking like up things there, no, it's just a normal foundation day where I feel really dry there. I shave every day, but that's normal for me, and I don't feel extra dry like the Revlon foundation made me really dry here, extremely dry. For some reason, I can feel the foundation, but these two, they work fine. They're really beautiful. The concealer, some people say they're really dry. I don't feel dry. It looks really matte. This works. So if you need something that's really like that has a lot of coverage, buy this one because it's really good. For the setting spray, I can't say much. I have to wear this with and without to see how much of like change do I have. For this palette, the blush just doesn't work there, like highlight, pink highlight. So if you buy this and you think, oh, I want to try blush, no, this doesn't work. The blush doesn't work. Highlight, contour, not contour, bronzer works. Eyeshadow, some are iffy, some are great. Overall, I would recommend this because it's inexpensive and you have a lot of product in here. So if it's, you can find this and it's inexpensive, it's on discount, buy this one, because I think this one you can like try everything, all of things here. So that's that. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe because I really do want you to stay and watch more of my videos, and click the bell button. Just click. Get notified. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.